Whoa, 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 at the break of the rising dawn, as the night's last shadows are gone, a spark ignites across the sky. Truth comes rolling in high. Hear the drum of the unheard. Feel the power of the word. We rise from dark to light, cut through the lies, ignite. Truth breaking through the noise, justice in our voice. From the silence to the fight. This is dawn and justice, let's rise. Across the wire, through the storm, we won't conform, we won't be warned. Every voice, every sign, we draw the waking line. Screens light up, the message clear. No more running, no more fear. From the ashes, from the night, we carry forward burning light. Dark to light, night to dawn. Truth lives on. We press on. We rise from dark to light, cut through the lies, ignite. Truth breaking through the noise, justice in our voice. From the silence to the fight, we stand together in the light. This is dawning justice, let's rise. This is dawning justice, let's rise.
Good morning, everyone. I am Josh the Justice Cometh, and this is Dawning Justice, your morning news show. And gosh, we've got a lot of news to go over. I've got some articles to go over. We've got a fantastic devotional this morning. Guys, listen, this is probably going to be an emotional show. Tracy wrote an article yesterday, and I'm going to be going through it. It really, really hit me hard. Even, she didn't read it. She usually reads it as she goes, as she's writing and creating and stuff. But she's like, I don't want to do that this time. I want to read it to you after I'm done with it. So I said, okay. So before she posted it last night, I was laying on the couch and she was reading it to me, and I'm telling you what, I teared up. It really, really hits you hard. Yeah, Jack, don't know, man. There's a lot of, as AJP calls it, stuffing things going on right now. So it's obviously going to be a banger week this week. We don't know what's coming up. We know there's so much stuff on the horizon that it's so crazy to be living through all this right now, being back in the Chan days and stuff, and watching all the shows and the Anons and everything, doing digging while I was digging too, and just trying to connect A to B to C to D. I was talking to an old friend, or a couple old friends, And I was just saying, man, what a time to be alive right now, man. It's like all coming together, just like we all said it would eventually. Sorry, gotta adjust my hat there. It's all coming together. And, I see a lot of narratives being pushed right now that, and see, this is why I do what I do, guys. Because there's so much stuff, so many new people in the movement that weren't a part of the movement way back when. We figured out a lot of stuff already. And we put a lot of stuff to bed and to rest through these drops that we figured out that was confirmed to us already, but you guys don't know about it. You guys weren't there. Some of you weren't. So that's why we try to keep pushing the truth to you and say, hey, this is what we figured out back in the day, and it was confirmed by Q. So there's a lot of doubt going on about what's going on, about who's good, who's bad, who can we trust. But there's one thing I say, even if you're watching my new show right now and you're like, oh God, this is a Q show. No. This is not all a Q show. I do throw some stuff out there every now and again. My Tracing Justice show is my main Q show. Yeah, American GG said, I woke up during COVID. I'm a late bloomer. Yeah, Real AF Patriot woke up during COVID. We'll have back channel discussions. He'd be like, now, what happened back this? What does Q mean by this? I mean, it just is what it is. So what was I saying? There's a lot of narratives being pushed right now, and I think I know why. That even after we figured out some of these clues and stuff that were confirmed by Q, now all the influencers are telling you the exact opposite. Interesting. All right, so you know what, guys? Now I know why it's so quiet in the chats. I didn't even share my show this morning. Oh my gosh, I couldn't sleep last night, guys. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm going on about a couple hours of sleep. That's okay. If I drank my coffee, I'd probably be all right. But, never really developed a taste for coffee. I'm struggling right now because it's just some personal stuff I'm talking about before we jump into everything. I am a big fan, not really, but of Goodies powders. Guys, I know you're rolling your eyes right now and you're like, oh my God, Josh, those things are like awful for you. They do wake me up. And I drink these things called 5-Hour Energy sometimes, and I shouldn't. I know I shouldn't. But sometimes I don't get a lot of sleep. So therefore, I take these things to boost me, but then I come crashing back down later. Haven't taken any of those things this morning at all. I don't plan on it either. I've got to. I think that in the long run, they make me feel worse than if I hadn't even taken anything. So it's going to be a stretch for me. It's going to be a challenge for me because I know this stuff isn't good for me. I took my blood pressure the other day and it's not good. For the short term, until I can shed some of this weight off of me, I've got to go back to taking some of my blood pressure medicine. I hate it. I know it's not good for me long term. I'm just going to use it as a stepping stone because, guys, I can't continue doing live streams and working and stuff like that with 180/98 blood pressure. I felt horrible yesterday. I was laying in bed most of the day, while Tracy was working on her articles and everything. And yeah, hide cases. Yep, vape here. Yeah, we've all got our stuff, man. I mean, and it's just like we've got to try to go the best we can, because and again, it's one of these things you have to go in prayer with, and in constant prayer to try to stay away from these things, guys. Let me tell you something. Tracy smokes. Y'all know that. Um, she was talking about quitting smoking the other day, and I was like, not just yet. I get it, but let's get you off some of these other things first, like your love for Coke. And then we'll graduate to something else. Um, a Dutch Rumbler says I drink half caffeinated now. Huh? That's interesting. Maybe I don't need to drink coffee. Maybe I just need to drink straight coffee. I mean, the Lord did put it on this planet. Maybe I'll try it. Mike and the guys at Hunter's Blend, they make a really, really good coffee from what Tracy tells me. And she doesn't even have to use a lot of sugar and creamer and all that other, junk. But, back to what I was saying about smoking. It's one of the hardest things that you will ever do. I saw my dad go through it. He quit for a little while, we thought. And he just, snuck it here and there. Yeah, Freedom Fire 1776 says, I get it, Josh. I'm addicted to energy drinks. It's horrible. Guys, some more personal information about me. I feel like this is necessary that you guys know this about the energy drinks. So I don't know if I've ever said this before in a show. I don't think I have. Is that my mom suffered from heart arrhythmia. Her top half of her heart would get out of sync with the bottom half of her heart. So what that means is that the blood never really gets fully pumped out of her heart. God rest her soul. And it can develop blood clots in the blood system very easily when it gets like that. And what it feels like you're having extra beats, because you are. Your heart's trying to reset itself back into rhythm, and it's trying to compensate by the bottom half of the heart getting a little bit faster than the top half of the heart, and trying to, get that sync back. Okay. I suffer from that as well. I don't even think Truth or Media knows about this. I think the only person that knows about this really is Tracy. So in 2008, I was still young. I had this feeling come over me like I couldn't catch my breath. My heart was beating out of control. Got rushed to the hospital, and they said your heart's out of rhythm. And I was like, what? I'm like in my 20s. What are you talking about? Late 20s? What? He said, we're going to put you on some medicine. We're going to watch you for 24 hours. And then if it doesn't come back into rhythm, we'll have to stop it. I was like, excuse me? You're going to have to stop my heart? He's like, yeah, but, we'll bring you back with the shock paddles. And, usually that works if it doesn't work with, the medicine we're going to give you. So it didn't work, the medicine. So I have had what they call a cardioversion. And ever since then, I've struggled with heart arrhythmia. I've had an attack in a long time. The last attack I had on it was about, when I say attack, I mean where I got to go to the hospital. Okay. Last attack I had was probably about a year before I met Tracy. I had to go into the hospital, and they gave me the medicine again, but it worked that time. So, that's just a little bit what I struggle with. So that's why, energy drinks are the absolute worst thing for me ever. Because the stuff that's in all those 5 hour energies and drinks and stuff like that, it will set my heart off, and if it gets too overstimulated, not a good feeling, guys. It's very scary. Um, I wish I was healthier. I'm getting there. I'm taking the mushrooms now. Um, I see that it's helped me. I see it's helped Tracy more than me. But it does help me in my moods and things like that. Yeah, Afraid of Fire says nobody should drink them ever. I mean, they guys, listen, they are awful. They're just as bad as cigarettes. It what those energy drinks does is you don't realize is that it speeds up the processes of your heart, which makes your heart work harder when it really doesn't need to. So what does that do? Have you ever? Here's the analogy. Have you ever seen one of these bodybuilders and they're always like working out and they're huge and ripped and da da, all that? Well, that's how your heart gets when it's constantly in overdrive, okay? It gets bigger and bigger and bigger. That's not a good thing for the heart. It cuts off on your lifespan. It takes years off of you. As your heart grows bigger and bigger and bigger, it has to work harder and harder and harder, having to pump out all the blood. So you would think, yeah, it's a muscle, it's working out, it's a good thing. Not quite. So, give me just a second. I'm about to burn up here. I got the heater on. It's midsummer. So yeah, just a little bit of personal information about me. So, anyways, enough about me. We are broadcasting from Rumble. So if you are one of our Rumblers over there, and that's one of the chats that is going off right now, if you will please hit that thumbs up for me, I would very much appreciate that. If you're over on Pilled watching the replay or watching live, give me a quick hey, how are you doing over there on Pilled, and give me that red pill and give me that repost as well. We are also live on X. The X chat is also being very, very excellent this morning. We'll go through all the chats here in just a minute. And we are also broadcasting on YouTube. So I see a couple of my mainstays over there. Oh gosh, we got somebody from Costa Rica in YouTube right now. So that is awesome. We'll go through the chats here in just 1 second. And let me check on my Facebook crew, guys. I don't know how much longer I'm going to have my Facebook. Weird thing is, I got a text from Marnie, Spammer Girl Q, and she goes, Josh, I got this notice saying that we've been set for deletion. And I'm like, what? So I go check it out, and somebody had reported my post on, I think it was the eating of the human flesh or something like that. And I was like, I deleted it. And I was like, Marty, let's not put anything like that else on Facebook. I'm not quite ready for that stuff yet. So I appealed it, and they said I should know the decision probably in the next, 3 or 4 days or whatever. I think it's going to be okay, though. I've never been dinged over there on Facebook before. So let's just hope and pray that I get to keep my Facebook. I've lost my X account. I've had to start over. We're finally gaining traction on Facebook. Almost 7,000 followers over there. And I get hit with that. So, but you know what? That's part of in the movement. You just make another one and you go on. So, all right. So what else we got today? So yeah, let's go through the chats real quick. Let's go ahead and get started because we do have a lot of stuff to go over. So I'm going to start on Xland. So Kelly B, one of our Tracing Justice subscribers, says, good morning, fam. And Jack says, hello, Josh. Did you see the UK officially designated the IRGC as a terrorist organization? No, I didn't. Huh. K9 Andrea, part of our Truther Media mod team, says, good morning, friends. Cindy Rocks, good morning to you. Maga Man, good morning, good morning. And let's see who else we got. Hot K, yeah, he said, yeah, vape here. Yeah, I get it, dude. I understand. It's a constant struggle. We are flesh. Lana Gross says, good morning over there on X as well. Nabil, man, I met that dude at Freedom 250. Awesome dude. I could just tell, that he's a good, wholesome guy. So thank you so much for joining us. Yeet Force, part of our Truther Media mod team, says, good morning and welcome in and get comfy. Absolutely. So over there on the tube, we got Christopher Charles Hain checking in saying, good morning, all from Costa Rica. Awesome. Make it make sense. Good morning. Good morning. 4 Huskies. That is actually a wife and husband combo. Did get your message over there on X. So yes, thank you so much. And Wave Farm Studio, that is going to be Yeet Force over there on YouTube as well, modding. So thank you so much. Pilled is asleep, so we're just going to skip right past Pilled. So let's see here what else we got. So let me refresh my Facebook and see if we got some comments over there. I think we do. Yeah, Walter, hey, good morning. Not good afternoon, good morning. He was part of our cruisers over on the LT cruise. We met him and his wife, and they are amazing, amazing people. So thank you, Walter, for joining us. Now our Rumble channel. See, we got checking in. So K9 Andrea was the very first check-in this morning. Good morning, Nana2112. Good morning, good morning. Freedom Fire, part of our Truther Media podcasting team over there on Signal Over Noise. So welcome in this morning. American GG coming in. Thank you so much. And a Dutch Rumbler coming in. It took me forever to figure out how to pronounce your name. And then AJP told me, he goes, no, dude, that's a Dutch Rumbler, not adult crumbler or whatever I would used to say. So I apologize about that, but we got it right now. All right, so what else we got? Yeet Force, also, he's triple dipping over there. So he is my main mod this morning. So thank you so much for that. And K9 Andrea helps out too as well. And OK Patriot 10 with the American flag coming in. So welcome, welcome. Debbie V57 coming in. So thank you so much for that. And let's see here. Who else do we? Oh, Julie Donuts. Hey, guys, listen. Do me a favor. If there's a lot of fake Julie Donuts accounts out there, make sure you guys are reporting every single one of them. Every single one of them needs to be gone. So if you could help her out in doing that, I very much appreciate that. 929 NAN. So good morning from Alabama. Hey, I'm right next to you. I went through Alabama yesterday. Tracy and I decided to go to Florida and get us like a really cheap hotel room, so we could just go to the beach for a day and kind of unwind and stuff like that. So, but yep, passed right through Alabama. Let's see, Carrie Girl 74. So thank you for checking in. And I think that's going to get us all caught up in the chats. Oh, Janie checks in late over there she subscribes to Tracing Justice on X as well. So thank you so much for that. All right, so Florida is the best, Maga Man. I agree with that. One day, Tracy and I are going to make our way and live in Florida because she loves the beach. All right, so let's go ahead and get started with our daily devotional. So Signal Over Noise says, approaching light speed. Life moves fast, faster than we realize. 1 minute you're planning your future. The next, you're looking back wondering where the years went. Days become weeks. Weeks become years. And somewhere in the rush of the work, bills, responsibilities, politics, distractions, and endless noise, we begin living as though tomorrow is guaranteed. But Scripture gives us a sobering reminder. Whereas you do not know what will happen tomorrow. For what is your life? It is even a vapor that appears for a little time and then vanishes away. And that's James 4:14, New King James Version. A vapor. That's how quickly this life passes. We spend so much time preparing for things that may never happen. Yet, how much time do we spend preparing our hearts for the one thing every person will eventually face? Eternity. The clock is moving. The world is moving. History is moving. And whether we notice or not, we are all moving towards an appointment with eternity. But the gospel isn't a message of panic. It's a message of urgency and hope. Jesus Christ stepped into our broken world. He carried our sin to the cross. He conquered the grave. And he opened the way for eternal life for everyone who places their faith in him. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whomever believes in him should not perish, but have everlasting life. And we all know that one, John 3:16. Maybe you've been saying, someday I'll get serious about God. Someday I'll open my Bible. Someday I'll surrender that part of my life. Someday I'll tell someone about Jesus. But here's the problem with someday. It isn't promised. Christian, stop living like you have unlimited time. Love people now. Forgive now. Speak truth now. Share the gospel now. Use the gifts God gave you now. Stand for Christ now. Because life isn't slowing down so we can catch up. We are approaching eternity at light speed. Remember, we're a vapor. For those of you that vape, how quickly does that vapor disappear? The question isn't whether the clock is moving. The question is, what are you doing with the time God has given you? Behold, now is the accepted time. Behold, now is the day of salvation. And that's 2 Corinthians 6:2. Don't wait for someday. Live for Christ today. Love boldly. Speak truth. Point people to Jesus. Because this life is a vapor, but eternity is forever. And this graphic says approaching light speed. This life is a vapor, James 4:14. You see stuff passing by this guy. He's looking at the cross. It says yesterday is gone. Work, bills, distraction, regrets, excuses. Life is moving fast. Eternity is closer than you think. Don't wait for someday. Live for Christ today. Whew, man, guys. Kind of makes you think. Yeah, Carrie Girl is exactly right. One of the 7 D's of the devil is delay. Absolutely. You know, we all suffer from it. We've all done it. Hey, Busy all the time. Thank you for checking in over there on the Rumble. We all say, well, we'll just do it tomorrow. Or we're walking in the grocery store and we see somebody struggling. I'll help the next person. I just really don't want to today. We're talking to one of our loved ones on the phone, and they don't know Christ. I'll talk to him tomorrow. I'm having a good conversation right now. I don't want to rock the boat. I'll talk to him later. Or you're out, just walking, and you get this tug on your heart that somebody doesn't quite know Jesus. We've all had that feeling before. But then what happens? You look around and you're like, maybe next time. I don't want to rock the boat. Eternity's coming quick. One day we're all going to stand before the Lord and answer. He's going to say, Josh, I gave you that tug. The Holy Spirit told you needed to do something, but why didn't you do it? There's no time like the present. Absolutely. And when we go into Tracy's article, a lot of that is centered around this devotional. They wrote it at separate times. I don't even think that they know, Signal Over Noise read Tracy's article last night, but I don't think Tracy read this devotional yet. Odd. But a good odd. So before we go any further, I do want to let you know today's episode is brought to you by justicerooms.com and justicepetclub.com. So I've had the guys from Justice Rooms and Justice Pet Club 24/7. Those are just my URLs. How to get to the products. We've had them on. We've talked about warning signs. Your body telling you warning signs of what's going on. Are you getting sick a lot? Are you forgetting things a lot? Have you got eczema, sore, whatever? Your body tells you something's wrong with it. So does your pet's body. By their coat, they scratch a lot and things like that. So listen, I know everybody loves, and I thank everybody for it, of wanting to donate to Tracing Justice to keep us afloat. Take that money and use it at justicerooms.com or justicepetclub.com that you would normally just give to us. I want to give something back to you. I want you to get something in return from me. For yourself, this guy right here, the Enforce Coriolis Versicolor, this is the one thing that if you just can't afford the $200 for the complete kit, this is around $39, $40-ish right here. This is the one that you need to get your body on. This is the one that brings your body back into balance. Because your immune system and your gut health is everything. I don't know if you know this. Yeah, Freedom Fire says that instead of energy drinks. Absolutely. I think if you take this enough, that you won't need energy drinks and you get sleep enough. Love the turkey tails, a Dutch Rumbler says. Yep. This is the one, guys. And guess what? It's their most inexpensive product. Thank you, Yeet, for that. He just dropped that link in the chat for you. Let's talk about your pets. Magaman says as I'm drinking a Red Bull. I get it, dude. I understand. Mush puppies. Made in the USA. This product right here has the same thing as this is in it, okay? Except it's in an easy to eat dog biscuit. And for those that have the really bad teeth, they have the easy to chew ones too. You can look for it. Because I'm telling you, I have had all kinds of comments come back from my friends that have tried this with their pets telling you, it's a game changer for them. Even the older pets out there that can't quite move like they should, try them this on a couple of months. See if it works for them. I'm not guaranteeing results for this stuff. I'm just telling you that God put this stuff on this earth for us and the animals to eat. So just try it out. JusticeRooms.com for you, and JusticePetClub.com for your furry friends. All right, so let's get started, and I want to go and start by reading Tracy's article first. Listen, guys, I know there's a lot of news out there, and Lindsey Graham, stuff like that. We're going to get to that, but life is important too. Life outside of X and True Social and all this other stuff is what really, really matters. I always tell people that's new into the movement that I'll tell them, I'm like, listen, research is very important. Going down the rabbit holes is very important. But, as AGP says, we have families, we have friends, we have wives, we have husbands. You cannot forget about them. Don't just say, I'll spend time with them tomorrow. Sometimes you got to put that phone down. You got to put it on silent, because I'm telling you guys, moms, you're the worst about this. I can't put my phone on silent. What if my child needs me? I have to be available. Ladies and gentlemen, listen. There was a time and place that their kids couldn't get a hold of their moms and dads anytime that they needed them. It's going to be okay. And I will say this too. And this will probably hit the moms more than it will the dads. Our children are very, very important. They are. For parents, for a period of time, that's why that we were put on this earth, to raise our children. But I want you to remember, don't idolize your children. Don't make your whole entire life about your children, ladies. Why? Because at the end of the day, who's going to be by your bedside when you're on your deathbed? Your kids are going to go off and have their own lives. They're going to have their own husbands and wives and kids, and they're going to concentrate on their family. But your husband / wife is going to be the one there next to you till the end of time. Possibly. Who knows? Do we remain married in heaven? I don't know. I hope so. But don't forget about your spouses. Don't leave them behind in this whole crazy world. That's how divorces happen. That's how, bad things happen in a marriage. Always, always, always try to make time for your spouse. All right. Let's get to Tracy's article. All right, guys. Here we go. The picture, for those that are just listening or on the road, says 30 days left. And it's a desk with a picture of the family and a Bible and a cup that says it was mostly Tuesdays. 30 days left. The letter I hope none of us ever have to write. Live the ordinary days. They're your life. Last Tuesday started like most Tuesdays. Tuesdays were special to me because I spend them preparing for fellowship in the Word, the online Bible study I have the privilege of teaching each week. For most people, though, Tuesdays is just another ordinary day. It's not a holiday. It's not a birthday. It's not an anniversary. It's the kind of day we usually rush through while looking ahead to something else. Have y'all ever felt like that before? It's like, it's Tuesday, one more day to Wednesday. And it's always like the forgotten day of the week. Just about. It's like we just view Tuesday as we just got to get through it. Yep. Fahrenheit says yes. Hey, Fahrenheit, thanks you for checking in over there on Rumble. Hey, Scout Mom, good morning. So it's the kind of day we usually rush through while looking ahead for something else. That morning, my Bible was open. My notebook was covered with the verses of half-finished thoughts, and my coffee had already gone cold. At the same time, my phone wouldn't stop buzzing. A text message, a comment, an email, another notification. I'd answer one, then go back to studying, answer another, then go back to studying. It felt like every other Tuesday. Busy, routine, ordinary. Somewhere in the middle of it all, a question quietly settled into my mind. It stayed with me for the rest of the day. What would I wish I had done differently if someone told me I only had 30 days left to live? I wasn't thinking about writing at all. I just couldn't stop thinking about it. I found myself reflecting on my own life, the people I love, the moments I rush through. The ordinary days I assume will always be there. The question wouldn't leave me alone. As I prayed about it, I couldn't help but wonder if perhaps God wanted me to share it. So I began imagining what a woman might say if she knew she only had 30 days left to live. This is that letter. And ladies and gentlemen, Tracy does not have 30 days left to live. I'm telling you that right now. Okay. Everything is fine. There's no hidden meaning behind this. So she is perfectly fine. So whomever is reading this, 30 days. That's what the doctor told me yesterday. 30 mornings to wake up. 30 sunsets to watch. 30 chances to hug the people I love. 30 opportunities to say, I love you one more time. Funny how a calendar can suddenly become priceless. When you believe you have decades ahead of you, 30 days just doesn't sound like much. That's a month, guys. When it's all you have left, it feels like everything. Before I go any further, I need you to know something. I'm not writing this because I'm afraid. The moment I gave my life to Jesus Christ, my eternity was settled. That doesn't mean saying goodbye is easy now. It means that I know this isn't the end of my story. It's the beginning of being with my Savior forever. So if you're expecting this letter to be filled with fear, you won't find it here. If anything, you'll find clarity. Because something remarkable happens when you discover your time is limited. The things you spent years worrying about suddenly become very small. And the things you hardly noticed at all become priceless. Yesterday, I thought I was losing 30 days. Today, I realize I've been given one final opportunity. One last chance to tell you what I wish I had understood much sooner. If these words encourage even one person to live a little differently, then these 30 days will already have been a gift. I used to think life was made up of milestones, graduations, weddings, promotions, birthdays, anniversaries, vacations, retirement, the big moments, the ones we count down to, the ones we put on the calendar, the ones we take pictures of. I spent years believing those were the days that defined a life. I think we pretty much all thought that. I was wrong. Looking back now, I realize life wasn't built from milestones. It was built from thousands of ordinary Tuesdays quietly strung together. The Tuesdays where I packed another school lunch. The Tuesdays where my husband asked me to come sit with him in the garage. God, guys. The Tuesdays where my daughter wanted me to sit on the edge of her bed and tell me about her day. The Tuesdays when my little boys wanted me to play Hot Wheels on the living room floor. The Tuesdays when my grandchildren proudly handed me another crayon masterpiece to hang on the refrigerator. The Tuesdays when my mom called just to chat. Guys, I've read this like twice now. It's still hard to get through. The Tuesdays where my grandmother offered to teach me her homemade biscuits and her famous brown gravy. At that time, none of those moments felt remarkable. I spent years preparing for someday. I never realized someday was quietly becoming yesterday. I kept waiting for life to begin. I never realized it already had. Those ordinary Tuesdays weren't getting in the way of my life. They were my life. I wish I had put my phone down more often. The emails could have waited. The text messages weren't nearly as important as I thought they were. The notifications never loved me back. I wish I had looked into the eyes of people sitting across from me instead of glancing down at a screen. You ever done that, guys? Ever been out with your wife or your husband, and what do? You get on your phone. Guilty as charged. One day the notifications stopped mattering. The people I love never did. I wish I had listened more intently. Not while thinking about what I was going to say next. Not while mentally checking off my to-do list. Really listened. Some people aren't looking for advice. They're simply hoping someone cares enough to hear them. I wish I had complimented more strangers. The tired young mom trying her best. The cashier who smiled through what was probably a difficult day. The teenager trying to figure out where she belonged. The elderly man eating lunch by himself. You never know what someone else is carrying. Kindness costs so little, yet it has a way of living far longer than the moment it was given. Every Saturday, I'd slow down just enough to look through the window of the same little boutique. There was the dress I loved. I'd smile. I'd keep walking. Maybe after I lose 10 pounds. Maybe when there's a special occasion. Maybe when the money isn't so tight. Looking back now, I realize I'd had it backwards. Being alive was a special occasion. I should have bought that dress, worn it, spilled coffee on it, laughed when the hem got dirty. Beautiful things were never meant to spend their lives protected. Neither were we. Hey, Heather, thank you for checking in on X. There was a little box of expensive chocolate someone gave me for Christmas. I kept saving it. One piece here, one piece there. Always waiting for a better reason to enjoy it. Funny. I finally realized that Ordinary Tuesday was reason enough. I should have eaten the chocolate. I should have enjoyed it without waiting for a birthday, holiday, or some other milestone just to justify it. Life gave me enough reasons to celebrate. I just didn't recognize them. I should have taken more vacations. Instead, I picked up extra shifts so someone else could go. I worked long hours. I chased a bigger paycheck, a bigger house, nicer things. I thought I was building a better life for my family. The house I worked so hard to build will someday belong to someone else. I trade every square foot of it for the sandy feet, salty air, and one more afternoon walking the shoreline searching for seashells with people I love. I confused making a living with making a life. One pays the bills. The other becomes your legacy. I should have gone on more dates with my husband. Not because we were drifting apart, because we never stopped loving each other. Life just got busy. There was always another bill to pay, another errand to run, another responsibility waiting for us. I kept telling myself we'd have more time later. My husband loved creating memories. I wish I'd realized sooner that he wasn't asking me to spend money. He was asking me to spend time. For years, he'd open the garage door, poke his head inside, and say, "Come sit with me for a while." Most evenings I'd answer, "Just let me finish this first." There was always one more dish, one more load of laundry, one more email, one more thing to check off my list. Looking back now, I wish I had left the dishes in the sink. He wasn't inviting me to admire tools. He was inviting me to spend time with him. I should have held his hand more often. Not because he needed to know I loved him, because one day I wish I could hold it just one more time. I still remember the night he looked at me and said we should go skinny dipping while we were at Lake Tahoe. I laughed. I worried someone might see us. I worried about what strangers might think. Today I can't remember a single face belonging to one of those strangers. But I remember the disappointed smile on the face of the man who simply wanted to make a memory with me. I should have said yes. He always wanted a little convertible sports car. Every time one drove by, he'd smile like a little boy. One of those days, he said, I'd smile back maybe someday. I thought I was being practical. Looking back, I think we would have laughed our way through 1,000 beautiful memories with the top down and nowhere in particular to go. The car was never really the dream. The memories were. I kissed him goodbye so many ordinary Tuesday mornings. A quick kiss. I love you. See you tonight. Neither of us knew that ordinary Tuesdays would become our last goodbye. If you've ever been blessed with someone who loves you, don't assume there will always be another date, another drive, another conversation. Another ordinary Tuesday. If they're waiting in their garage, go sit with them. The dishes can wait. And yes, this is a real picture of me and Tracy. Give you a little bit of background about this. When Tracy and I first got together, I had sold my house, and money was kind of plentiful back then. So we went to Destin. And I remember Tracy telling me that she'd always wanted to ride in a Corvette. So I surprised her. I was like, hey, guess what? I rented us a Corvette. And it was a convertible. We, that the whole week, we were going to the beach and doing this and doing that. But the best time is I said, hey, what do you want to do today? She was like, I don't know. I said, why don't we just go and ride? She just sounds good to me. We spent literally the entire day in that Corvette, playing music, loving on each other. It was great. I spent years rushing through the very days I wouldn't one day miss the most. There were mornings I packed school lunches half asleep. Peanut butter sandwich, ladies, you know about this one. Peanut butter sandwiches, juice boxes, permission slips. Trying to remember who needed money for a field trip and whose turn it was to bring the snacks. At the time, it felt like just another Tuesday. Today, I'd give anything to pack one more lunch. I spent countless evenings sitting on folding chairs at the ball fields, in school auditoriums during dance rehearsals. Some days I caught myself looking at my watch, wondering how much longer until we could go home. I didn't realize those folding chairs would someday become some sort of place I'd miss the most. I should have lingered a little longer on the edge of my daughter's bed. Some nights we'd talk for 10 minutes. Other nights we'd talk for an hour. She'd tell me about school, her friends, her dreams. The little things that seemed so ordinary at the time, I thought there would always be another conversation tomorrow night. I didn't know those ordinary talks were quietly becoming some of the greatest gifts God would ever give me. I should have spent more afternoons in the living room floor pushing little Hot Wheels across imaginary highways. The laundry could have waited. Those boys didn't stay little. I should have dressed one more baby doll, drank one more imaginary cup of tea, let my daughter brush my hair one more time, even if she left it looking absolutely ridiculous. I never liked Monopoly, and listen, I'm telling you, Tracy does not like Monopoly. It took forever. Every game felt like it would never end. Looking back, I wish we had played one more. One day I picked up my child without realizing it would be the last time. Nobody tells you when it's the last piggyback ride, the last bedtime story, the last time they'll reach for your hand before crossing the street. Those moments don't announce themselves. They simply slip quietly into yesterday. I spent too much time worrying about keeping the house clean. Now I realize the fingerprints on the window, the toys scattered across the living room, the laughter echoing down the hallway. The mess wasn't getting in the way of life. It was life. If your children are still little, get down on the floor, play the game, read one more story. Sit on the edge of the bed a little longer. The laundry could have waited. Those little boys didn't stay little. One of God's sweetest gifts was allowing me to watch my children become parents. I wasn't prepared for what that would do to my heart. The first time I saw my grandson laugh exactly the way his daddy used to laugh, for just a moment it felt like time stood still. The first time I saw my granddaughter smile with her mother's eyes, it was though I got to visit the past while standing in the present. Life has had a beautiful way of coming full circle. If you walked into my kitchen, you'd probably notice the refrigerator first. Guys, this is our refrigerator. It is. And the side of the refrigerator that we can see, it's filled too. There's our grandkids right there. We had, they wanted to come over for the weekend, and we got them some paints and everything else. That was before the mess. That was right when they first started. But man, I tell you what, they had a blast with that. Covered with crooked hearts, stick figures, handprints, misspelled words. Crayon masterpieces only a grandparent could fully appreciate. One day, someone will probably take them down. I hope they wait a while. Those papers aren't clutter. They're evidence that love lived here. I should have let them stay outside a little longer to catch lightning bugs. I was thinking about bedtimes. They were thinking about magic. Looking back, I think they were right. I should have knelt down one more time to search for the seashells. Not because the shells were rare, because my grandchildren believed every single one was treasure. And for a little while, so did I. Some of my favorite memories weren't the vacations we'd planned for months. They were the afternoons that didn't go according to plan at all. The picnic that got rained out. The game that ended in laughter because nobody remembered the rules. The cookies that came out a little too brown. The moments we never could have planned because the ones were never forgot. There was a season when my house echoed with little giggles. At the time, I barely noticed. I was busy cleaning up spilled juice, wiping sticky fingerprints off the table, and reminding everyone to wash their hands before dinner. Today, I'd give anything to hear those giggles one more time. If your grandchildren still run to you with a handful of seashells, stop what you're doing. If they ask you to come outside, go. If they hand you another drawing for the refrigerator, hey, hang it up proudly. One day, you'll discover that ordinary little moments were God's greatest gifts. There are questions I'll never get to ask now, not because I didn't care, because I always thought there would be another visit, another holiday, another Saturday afternoon. I wish I'd stood beside my grandmother in the kitchen just one more time. I wanted to learn how she made those homemade biscuits everyone loved and her famous brown gravy. She never measured anything. She'd pinch a little flour between her fingers, smile, and somehow knew it was just right. I kept saying next time. Then one day, there wasn't a next time. Some recipes were written on index cards. The best ones were written in the hands of the people who make them. I finally realized I wasn't trying to preserve the recipe. I was trying to preserve her. I wish I'd written down more of my parents' stories. As children, we spend so much of our lives thinking our parents have always been parents. We forget they were once little boys and little girls. They had dreams. They had fears. They fell in love. They made mistakes. They laughed until they cried. They were becoming the people who would one day become mom and dad. I wish I'd asked more questions. What was your happiest memory as a child? Who was your first love? What did you want to be when you grew up? What my grandpa really was like before I was born. Those answers become priceless once they're gone. Not long ago, I pulled out an old photo album. I sat there smiling through the tears. Half of the people looking back at me from those pictures are already in heaven. The funny thing is, when those photographs were taken, none of us knew they would someday become treasures. We thought we were just having another family dinner, another birthday, another ordinary Tuesday. Today, I'd give anything to step back in one of those pictures just for 5 more minutes. And if your parents are still here, ask them the questions. If your grandparents are still here, learn the recipes. Write down the stories. Take the pictures. Print them. One day, those photographs won't simply remind you what they look like. They'll remind you of how deeply you were loved. I spent too much time looking at everyone else's life instead of thanking God for my own. Someone always had the nicer house, the newer car, the better vacation, the happier family. Or so it seemed. Looking back now, I realize I wasn't missing a better life. I was missing the beauty of the life God had already given me. God had surrounded me with miracles I had slowly begun to call ordinary. I worried too much. I lost sleep over things that never happened and the things that did. God carried me through every single one of them. I should have trusted Him sooner. I should have opened my Bible before I opened my phone. I should have spent more mornings talking to God before talking to the world. There are people I loved who needed to hear about Jesus. Too many times I stayed quiet because I didn't want an uncomfortable conversation. Now I understand that eternity is far more important than temporary discomfort. If there's one more thing I've learned, it's this. Never underestimate the power of simple kindness. A smile, a sincere compliment, holding the door, a handwritten note, a phone call just to say, I was thinking about you. Those things seem so small while we're doing them, but rarely know what someone else is carrying. You may never know how much your kindness meant to the exhausted mother in the grocery store, the cashier who smiled through a difficult day, the lonely man eating lunch by himself, or the teenager trying to figure out where she belonged. Kindness has a way of living far longer than the moment it was given. It costs so little. Yet it become one of the greatest gifts we ever leave behind. I also discovered something I wish I understood years earlier. The interruptions weren't interruptions. They were invitations. The little voice calling, Mom. The unexpected phone call. The child wanting to show me something that they thought was amazing. the neighbor who lingered at the front door, the grandchild climbing into my lap with another story to tell. I spent years thinking those moments were keeping me from getting things done. Looking back, they were the very things that mattered the most. They weren't getting in the way of life, they were my life. Maybe that's why Tuesdays mattered so much. Monday has always been the day we grumble about going back to work. Yeah, I know that one too well. Wednesday is hump day, the reminder that the weekend is finally getting closer. Thursday becomes, at least tomorrow is Friday. Friday feels like freedom. Saturday is the day we look forward to. Sunday is the Lord's Day, a day of worship, a day of rest, a day of preparing our hearts for the weeks ahead. But Tuesday? Tuesday has never really been known for anything at all. It's just another ordinary day. Our lives aren't lived in the excitement of Fridays or the celebration of birthdays or holidays. They're lived in the ordinary Tuesdays in between. The Tuesday when you pack another school lunch. The Tuesday when your husband asks you to come sit with him in the garage. The Tuesday where your daughter wants to sit on the edge of her bed and tell you about her day. The Tuesday when your little boy asks you to play Hot Wheels on the living room floor. That Tuesday when your grandchild proudly tapes another crooked crayon drawing to your refrigerator. The Tuesday when your mom calls you just to chat. The Tuesday when your grandmother offers to teach you her homemade biscuits and famous brown gravy. The Tuesday when you kneel in the sand searching for seashells with the people you love. The Tuesday when someone simply needs your full attention instead of another glance at your phone. Until one day, we realize they were our life. The hardest part about being told I have 30 days left isn't knowing that I'm leaving this world. It's realizing how many times I believed that there would always be another summer, another birthday, another anniversary, another Christmas, another vacation, another bedtime story, another phone call, another hug, another ordinary Tuesday. I was wrong. Please don't misunderstand me. Because of Jesus Christ, I know exactly where I'm going. The moment I gave my life to Him, my eternity was settled. Death isn't the end of my story. It's a beginning with my Savior forever. Please don't make the mistake I made. Don't wait for another vacation to spend time with your family. Don't wait for another birthday to celebrate someone you love. Don't wait for another anniversary to start dating your spouse again. Don't wait for another weekend to call your parents. Don't wait for another summer to search seashells with your children or grandchildren. Don't wait for another rainy day to play Monopoly together. Don't wait for another opportunity to ask your grandmother to teach you her homemade biscuits and famous brown gravy. Don't wait for another picture because you're waiting to lose weight or look younger. Don't wait for another chance to tell someone how much they mean to you. Most of all, don't wait for another day to surrender your life completely to Jesus Christ. If you already know Him, walk closely with Him. Open your Bible before you open your phone. Talk to Him before you would talk to the world. Tell people about the hope you found in Him. If you've wandered away, come home. If you've never trusted Him, don't assume there will always be another opportunity. None of us is promised tomorrow. My peace was never found in having enough time. It wasn't found in the size of my home, the balance in my bank account, or the things I accumulated. My peace had always been found in Jesus Christ. He was faithful through every ordinary Tuesday, every joy, every heartbreak, every unanswered prayer, every mountain, every valley. And He will be faithful to carry me home. My hope isn't that you finished this letter and remembered every word. My hope is that it quietly changed the way you live. That maybe tonight you'll put your phone down a little earlier. You'll linger a little longer at the dinner table. You'll call your mom just to hear her voice. You'll sit on the edge of your daughter's bed and ask one more question about her day. You'll play one more game of Monopoly, even though it takes forever. You'll say yes to searching for seashells. You'll let your grandchildren stay outside just a little longer to catch lightning bugs. You'll ask your grandmother to stand beside you one more time and teach you her homemade biscuits and famous brown gravy. You'll hold your husband's hand a little tighter. You'll buy that dress. You'll eat that chocolate on an ordinary Tuesday. And most of all, thank God for the ordinary days He's given you. Because one day you'll discover what I finally did. Life wasn't made up of milestones. It was mostly Tuesdays. My prayer isn't that you remember this letter. It's that years from now, you'll look back on a life filled with ordinary Tuesdays and thank God you didn't rush through them. From me to you, the letter you just read was imagined. Last Tuesday, while I was preparing for Fellowship of the Word, one question quietly settled in my heart and wouldn't leave. What would I wish I had done differently if someone had told me I had 30 days left to live? I couldn't stop thinking about it. I prayed about it, and somewhere along the way, I began to wonder if perhaps God wanted me to share it. So I sat down and wrote the letter of hope I hope none of us ever have to write. I hope that this is the letter doesn't leave you thinking about death. My hope is that it leaves you thinking about life. Maybe tonight you'll put that phone down a little earlier. You'll linger a little longer at the dinner table. You'll call your mom just to hear her voice. You'll search for seashells. You'll catch those lightning bugs. You'll buy that dress. You'll eat that chocolate. You'll thank God for the ordinary Tuesdays that quietly become a lifetime. Most of all, I hope you'll walk closely with Jesus Christ, because He is the only one who promised us far more than 30 days. My prayer isn't that years from now you won't simply remember this letter. You'll realize you lived it. That was Tracy and I after we got married. That's usually what I'm doing when I'm driving. I'm holding on to her leg or something like that. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. I hope that you share that. I hope that you say, you know what? Maybe I need to put down my phone occasionally. Because most off in this movement, it's either you or it's your spouse that are so in your phone all the time, digging, researching, looking at politics, when the other's just kind of sitting there, just kind of wanting just a little bit of your time. That's why I was saying, don't forget about the ones you love. They're why we do this. They're why we fight every single day. We're fighting for our kids' futures, our grandkids' futures, our futures. Sometimes you got to take a break from the battlefield sometimes. Sometimes you got to focus on the things that really do matter in life. What is your legacy going to be? Are you going to be known as the person that was always on their phone? And that whenever you're on your phone that you tune everything out? Are you going to be on your deathbed saying, damn, I wish we'd went out to that restaurant that you wanted to go to? Damn, I wish I had been looking down at my watch, wondering when this basketball game was going to be over, my kids participating in. It's words to think about. Words to think about. Tracy, that was one of the best things probably the best thing I've ever read in my life. Tracy just started recently, this past 6 months, writing articles and stuff like that. And I remember when she first started writing them, I was like, she's pretty good at this. And she's like, I'm not a writer. I'm not a writer. I'm not a writer. We started our Tracing Justice Substack. And I was like, I'd really like for you to contribute to this. And she's like, I don't have anything to contribute. I'm like, oh, yes, you do. So now sometimes it's like, oh, I got to write something. Inspiration just kind of comes to her. Well, we are an hour and 21 minutes in, and we have not went over the first piece of news. But that's okay. I think it was completely worth it all. Yeah, Yeet Force says she's totally a writer. Well worded. Absolutely. Couldn't agree more. And babe, I know you're in the bed right now and you're asleep, but if you're watching on the replay, I love you. I'm glad God brought us together. We fight, just like every couple does, about dumb stuff. We never really have like the huge arguments, but just like dumb crap. It doesn't matter. Melissa Smith 6460. Thank you for checking in over there on Rumble. Yeah, let me get that link to that article. And what we're going to do later is we're going to put it on our Substack. It's only on X right now. I'm putting it on all the chats. Give me just 1 second, guys. Jen, I'm sorry for your loss. I can't imagine losing one of our kids. I'm praying for you. Okay, one more. Facebook. Okay, I think I've got it everywhere now. So again, thank you for joining us if you're new. Usually we go through a little bit more news, but I just wanted to share that with everybody. I thought it was so very important. Hey, in God we trust, believer. Good morning over there on X. So guys, you want to get through some news real quick? And I've got about 30 more minutes. So let's hop right into it. Eric Daugherty says, wow, President Trump now has the FBI director Kash Patel involved in the investigation to find the leaker behind the New York Times report that 47 switched Air Force One planes in Turkey because of a security threat. The fake news is panicking right now. Subpoenas were sent out. An investigation is surfacing. And the leakers are trembling. It's simple. Leaking sensitive security information regarding the president while he's overseas, literally bordering a country we're involved in a conflict against, is betrayal. And let's watch this quick clip. That was POTUS getting back from overseas when he went to see NATO. I'm telling you, he's going to find out who it was, and they're going to pay the price. And I believe it's going to be somebody from the mainstream media. It's coming. Breaking. 2 Atlanta FBI officials were just fired by the FBI director, Kash Patel, for refusing to cooperate with the FBI Georgia's 2020 election investigation, per MSNBC. God bless Kash Patel. This is what I voted for.
We have some breaking news in the FBI's Fulton County election investigation. More than 200 federal agents now in Georgia to comb through data seized earlier this year. A clear sign that the investigation into the 2020 election is heating up. Thanks so much for joining us for the On the
Night. FBI agents are going through materials found today during a search of the Fulton County, Georgia election office. That search is said to be related to the 2020 election. Correspondent David Spont has details tonight. Good evening, David.
Brett, good evening. FBI agents are still on site at the records warehouse for the Fulton County, Georgia Board of Elections. The matter is sealed before a court, meaning details are limited, but we can report this is related to the 2020 presidential election. Sources tell Fox News that agents retrieved documents, phones, and computers after a judge signed a warrant. President Trump has long made Georgia, and specifically Fulton County, a target of his complaints relating to the 2020 election. Shortly after that election, Trump spoke to Georgia's Secretary of State, Brad Raffensperger, and said he needed 11,780 votes to win the state. At the time, Raffensperger said he felt pressure from Trump and denied any widespread election fraud. He continues to deny it to this day. Now, Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis brought state criminal charges against then former President Trump and others in 2023 for conspiracy to overturn the election. But her prosecution, Brett, was eventually derailed completely after it was revealed she had an intimate relationship with the top prosecutor on her team, and it could have tainted the case. Late last year, a judge dismissed the case in its entirety. Now, Brett, last month, the Justice Department sued Fulton County, Georgia, seeking access to 2020 voting records after state officials allegedly failed to respond to a subpoena. Fox News has learned the head of the FBI's Atlanta field office was recently forced out in recent days, but it's unclear, Brett, if this is all related.
Things are heating up. Trump's told you over and over the 2020 election is coming to a head. He's got the proof. He's just gathering some last-minute things for the public eye. Yeah, Rebel Yell 77 said, Georgia is done, dude. I agree 100%. Arizona's not going to be far behind. California, New York City, Los Angeles. Let me ask you a question, ladies and gentlemen. Do you realize the implications if, and I say that word loosely because it is going to happen, when the 2020 election is proven the biggest farce we have ever been fed in our lives? What is the ramifications of that? I mean, if Trump was elected in 2020 and he got shafted going to have to go to the Supreme Court. Hey, Timothy, thanks for checking in over there on Pilled and Seaver. Hey, Dandridge. Know where you at? Used to live right near there. Yeah, Fire and 8. It's going to be massive. Whew. Why do you think Trump has a picture of Biden as an auto pen? He don't just do this stuff just to do it. Yeah, Yeet says, yeah, the Supreme Court would be interesting. Absolutely. Completely interesting. All right, let's move on. I'm going to come back to Promethean Action because it's a 15-minute video. I kind of want to get through some other news first, and I want to go through some Lindsey Graham stuff first. Yeah, Trapper Tim, dude, I feel you, dude. I do. So ready for this crap to be over. You know, we're a little different here on Tracing Justice, Dawning Justice, Truth or Media. You know, we don't believe in this whole movie thing. The battle rages on. Moves and countermoves are happening right before your eyes. The people that believe that we're just watching one big, huge, gigantic movie, they get frustrated. They get frustrated just like you, Tim. They want this crap to be over. Well, the fight's not over. Ultimately, we do win this because we have it all. Yeah, Yeet says, and we're in the thick of it right now. This is go time right now. Trump needs us more than ever before. He don't need us just sitting back and enjoying the show. He needs us in the battle. He needs us fighting. All right, here we go. Jay Plemon says, I'm going to blow your mind. Are you ready? Hold on tight. Dr. Oz and Nick Shirley just walked a single block in New York City and found double-digit pharmacies. And I'm just going to let you watch this quick video. Just 1 second here.
Tight. Double-digit number of pharmacies. How many pharmacies do you need on this little strip of terrain in Flushing? Come on, I'll show you this. I mean, you can't even believe this is true unless you see it. There's a strip there. There are more than half a dozen pharmacies, back to back to back. The question is, how many pharmacies do you need back to back to back to back? Now, if I was running a restaurant, I might think about it because it's, you know, a food court. This is like a pharmacy court. So, we got one here.
One right there.
Number two, another pharmacy. Again, the question becomes, how many do you actually need? Another pharmacy. I'm losing track, but there's
Now
more.
we're at 4.
Yeah, it's like a game show.
So right here we have another adult daycare. Look
Across
at this.
the street.
Across the street.
And
we
I mean,
have
again, more pharmacies.
more pharmacies.
I mean, after a while, you start to realize something's not right. And then you actually look at the books, the finances, which is my job, and we see billions of dollars being spent on social adult daycare, which it seems inconceivable. The spot we just walked into, they have 15 people. He says they see 25 people a day. What if I could run a business that made millions of dollars and seeing 15, 25 people not doing anything except playing, you know, video games and mahjong and some yoga?
And another adult daycare right there.
Yep. I mean, after a while, it's almost clutters your mind to mention more. Look how many more. There's more pharmacies.
Another
over
pharmacy
here.
right there. Yeah, another one right there. Another pharmacy right here.
Come on, we're double digits now. It's like the kids in the back of the seat pointing out the obvious. Everywhere you look, there's something having to do with healthcare. And what again is mind blowing is there is no way you would build a facility, a street, and think you'd have more than 10 pharmacies on it. I don't think you go anywhere in America and think that was normal, unless there was a cash cow business that was feeding into it, which again raises our concerns that there's something here that doesn't meet the eye. And you look around, these folks tend to be from China and Korea. They don't want us here. We are from the outside. They don't share our culture. Getting these folks to talk to us about what is going on here has been really difficult.
We have another pharmacy.
Of course.
And essentially all these people need is a medical beneficiary number, and that is worth more than any credit card that a senior can give anybody.
Some of the drugs in these pharmacies cost more than a car. Think about that.
Wow. That's shocking. Yeah, Debbie V57 says more than 10 pharmacies on the street. That's just crazy. They only walk 2 blocks. What if they walked farther? What you're witnessing is one of the greatest money laundering outfits in the United States of America. And guess what? You're paying for it. All of it. Doesn't that piss you off? I don't think that's part of the movie. Fox News says new Iran launching missiles at Jordan, Oman, Bahrain, and Kuwait after another wave of U.S. strikes inside Iran. U.S. officials are also pushing back on viral social media claims that the American service members were injured in Kuwait, saying those reports are false. The latest escalation follows U.S. strikes on dozens of Iranian missile and maritime targets after Iran attacked Cyprus flag cargo ship in the Strait of Hormuz. As tension rises, shipping through the strait continues to slow, and oil prices climb around $79 a barrel. Let's watch this clip.
The latest in the back and forth with struggle for control over the Strait of Hormuz has Iran once again firing on its neighbors. Jordan, Oman, Bahrain, and Kuwait all took fire. The Kuwait is saying that border crossings, even an oil rig were hit out there. There's been a lot of social media traffic suggesting that U.S. service members were injured in Kuwait. Those reports are not true. But this follows another round of U.S. strikes inside of Iran. There may be some fresh reporting today about new strikes. The U.S. says everything from missile launching sites to maritime locations that Iran was using to menace shipping in the Strait were hit. Dozens of targets were hit by land-based and sea-based fighter jets. Guided missiles were fired from ships in the area. This latest round of airstrikes came after Iran fired on a Cyprus flag cargo ship crossing the Strait. It was traveling outside of the route designated by Iran and following the route encouraged by the U.S. One sailor is now missing and the ship was disabled. President Trump says Iran triggered this round of violence.
Agreed to a deal yesterday, a perfect deal for us. No nuclear, no this, no that, no nothing. They gave up everything. And then after that, they left the room. And then within an hour, they launched a drone at a ship.
As far as the plot to assassinate President Trump, as relayed by Israeli intelligence, the U.S. Secret Service issued a statement. While we do not confirm or comment on intelligence matters, we consume information on a global level to effectively execute our protective operations.
This is pretty serious. You know, you can't just make these kind of claims. I think it's important for Americans to understand that what the Iranians are saying and doing is nothing that they haven't been doing for 47 years.
Meantime, some 20 vessels, upwards of 20 vessels, crossed the strait yesterday. That's about half the volume before this latest round of strikes. Oil is now up 3.5% a barrel to $79 a barrel, and that's about 8% higher than it was before this latest round in the conflict.
So Magaban says, what the F is wrong with these people? They just want to get blown up or something. Let me break it down for you right now. What you're seeing is a struggle going on right now between President Trump and London. In case you're joining us for the first time, you know, we've been doing a lot of digging over the years. All of these places that President Trump is going into are deep state proxies that serve who? The Crown, London. You know, everybody thinks that, you know, Israel is the head of the snake. Incorrect. Israel is the nation state of Israel, as I should say, is only a very small part of the problem. You have to follow the money. All the money traces back to London. So what you're seeing right now is the struggle to take control of Iran. The good people of Iran love President Trump. They want to have a democracy. London is saying, we have control of Iran. We use Iran to keep all this endless wars going in the Middle East. We use Iran to control the oil prices. But one day, very soon, President Trump is going to hit them so hard, militarily, not civilians, okay? Very important to realize that the generals over there in Iran are going to have no choice but to go against their handlers. Why? You told us why. Because simply put, those generals have families too. They have children. They have grandchildren. They will side with the will of the people in Iran eventually. Because those very same people are their family. That's why. That's what you're seeing going on in Iran. It's moves, counter moves right now. Moves, counter moves, moves, counter moves. It's the biggest global game of risk that there ever has been. And see, here's the thing is, you're talking about their oil fields drying up. People don't realize that we only get 3% of our oil from the Strait. What did President Trump do before he started these strikes in Iran? We started up a partnership with Venezuela. For what? Oil. President Trump, back in his first term, opened up so many avenues of oil that continue to this day, almost like he knew what was going to happen or what he was going to do. Hey, thank you, God is with us. Good luck on your appointment. We have become the largest oil exporter in the world. Nations are leaving OPEC at a rapid clip. OPEC controls the price of oil. What happens when there's no countries of any consequence remaining on OPEC? Who controls the oil prices then? We're going through the Trump transition right now. All right, let's keep going, guys. This one's interesting. Fox News. Sam Neill, the legendary New Zealand actor and beloved star of Jurassic Park, has died at 78. Neill's family says his death was sudden and unexpected, adding that he remained cancer-free after his battle with rare blood cancer. In addition to his role as Dr. Alan Grant in Jurassic Park franchise, Neill starred in The Portable Door, The Piano, and The Hunt for the Red October, and Event Horizons, among others. Let's watch this clip.
Years old. His family releasing a statement saying, quote, Sam was surrounded by family and passed with the dignity that has characterized his whole life. The loss was sudden and unexpected, but blessed by the fact that Sam remained cancer-free. Neill is best known for his role as Dr. Alan Grant in the Jurassic Park franchise.
Don't move. You can't see us if we don't move.
Starring in the hunt for October, you say? And Event Horizon? Interesting. Interesting. All right, everybody knows about this one. We're going to go through it. Legendary moment. Lindsey Graham's fiery defense of Brett Kavanaugh turned the tide for SCOTUS. Graham's passionate stand against the damn sham called out unfair processes and Soviet-style tactics was pure courage that helped confirm a great justice. Okay, so if you've been under a rock the last 24 hours, maybe you don't know that Lindsey Graham passed away suddenly and unexpectedly. A lot of you out there don't like Lindsey Graham. I get it. I understand. He was supposedly a war hawk and a warmonger and, blah, 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 blah. He was tied to Senator John McCain, no name. They might have done a lot of gnarly stuff back in the day. But, this is where experience comes in. We figured out long ago that when no name died, John McCain, that he was freed. He talked. POTUS talks very fondly about Lindsey Graham. Always has. Calling Lindsey Graham a patriot. Rebel Yell 77, I get it. But in 2020 to 2024, Lindsey had to keep up optics. Q told us that Lindsey Graham was freed. Q speaks very fondly about Lindsey Graham. So does POTUS. Before we start going in the drops, let's watch this clip.
Supreme Court confirmation after that passionate speech denouncing what he called a Democratic sham hearing. Former chief counsel for Senator Lindsey Graham, Lee Holmes, played a central role in Senate confirmations and said that moment was peak Lindsey Graham courage. And he joins us now. Lee, thank you so much for coming on. I'm so sorry for your loss.
Good morning, Ainsley. Thank
Good
you,
morning.
and thanks for having me.
You're welcome. That moment, being
Rebel,
from South
don't trust
Carolina
me.
and knowing
Trust
Lindsey
POTUS.
Graham, I've always been proud of him, but I remember that moment, and every conservative at least was talking about, thank goodness that he defended the right thing. Tell me about that day. What went into that?
Well, you're right, and I was the staffer sitting behind him in those videos you just showed, and he grew more and more frustrated as the hearing went on because he felt that it was just a fundamentally unfair process. And it was one particular Democratic senator that pushed him over the edge, and that senator asked Brett Kavanaugh, if you're really innocent, why don't you want an FBI, a further FBI investigation? If you're really innocent, you would turn around to Don McGahn, the White House counsel at the time, and you would ask for this investigation. And I remember Lindsey turning to me and saying, this is not the Soviet Union. Tell Grassley, the then chairman, I'm going next. And the rest is history.
Remember that, Grassley.
In that soundbite, I voted for Sonia Sotomayor. I voted for Kagan, Elena Kagan. So I am willing to cross the aisle, as we all should be willing to do. Why aren't you willing to do that? How did that moment solidify his political career?
You know, I think it goes back to exactly what I was talking about. He felt that he had been fundamentally fair in considering nominees. He had treated them with respect and courtesy. And he felt sort of the degradation of the rule of law happening in the committee before him, where the presumption was against the nominee. And, you know, foreign policy drove him very hard. That's what he felt separated America from the rest of the world. And that's why he thought the United States was so great and why he fought for the American-style rule of law and representative government throughout the world.
Lee, here's a soundbite from President Trump talking about that moment, that intervention that helped change the course of that confirmation battle. Listen to this.
I think his finest moment was his defense of Brett Kavanaugh, who's a terrific guy. You know, I'll tell you, Jake, I think it was a top 10, maybe a top 5 moment in the history of the Senate. It was an incredible display. And he did it from the heart. He felt strongly about Brett, and he did it from the heart. And it turned that whole thing around. He was really amazing.
That really changed the course of the Supreme Court, didn't it?
It did. And when I think about Lindsey's legacy, I think about courage, compassion, and results. And in that moment, you saw Lindsey's courage and you saw him achieving a result. And I think that's why endorsing Lindsey was among the easiest decisions the president has made in his tenure.
Well, Lee, he had a great team surrounding him, and we have known many of y'all throughout the years, to Tara and to Kevin, who's been with him as comms director for a very long time. God bless you all. Thank you for supporting him and always having his back. We're going to miss him. He was a good one.
I'll miss him as well. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Carly, over to you.
Ainsley, we have even more sad news to get to.
Okay, so I know a lot about what Lindsey Graham said in the past about J6 and all that. Okay, you got to remember that came during 2020, 2024. There's a lot of stuff going on between then. Okay, Q post number 10. Remember, the FBI and the military intelligence have opened investigations into Clinton Foundation. Why did Comey drop this? Who was the FBI director during Haiti crisis? That would be Robert Mueller. How many kids disappeared? A hell of a lot. How much money went to Clinton Foundation under the guise of Haiti relief? Went to Haiti. Little to nothing. What countries donated big money to the Clinton Foundation and why? How much was owed by accepting? When she lost, how would this be repaid? Think Barack Obama sending the 1.7 million or billion in cash over to Iran. Remember that? That was repayment. What did Obama do with cash just prior to leaving the office? 2016 January. Repayment for those who donated for favors, access, dig. This is the important part of this drop. Again, good people were forced into bed with this evil under personal and family threats. Could you live with yourself helping to cover up such evil, despicable acts if given a safe way out? These people worship Satan. Some openly show it. Q post number 4. I'm not going to read the whole thing. Again, there are a lot more good people than bad. So have faith. This was a hostile takeover from an evil, corrupt network of players, not just Democrats. Q says in post number 6, 2 posts later, again, there are a lot more good people than bad, so have faith. All right, so let's go to some drops. Let me tell you what happened back in the day. Q post 1305, 4/30/2018. No name out. Now, and again, no name was John McCain. John McCain and Lindsey Graham were supposedly very, very close and very good friends. And there's a link to a Twitter post. Now remember, no name out. Now, we love good singers. Q. And that leads you to a Twitter post by Lindsey Graham. James Comey, I don't trust him. I think it was part of an effort at the FBI to give Clinton a pass. The way they conducted the investigation was a joke. The thumb was on the scale. The head investigator by the FBI hated Trump like Clinton. Yes, John McCain was executed. We love good singers. Q. Post 2094. And I'm going to play this video here in just a second. This is the Graham-Kavanaugh exchange. Interesting line of questioning. Normal. Military law versus criminal law. Think executive order. Think Hillary Rodham Clinton panic. Do you believe in coincidences? You have more than you know. Q. And let's play the Kavanaugh-Graham exchange. This doesn't make sense unless Graham flipped to us long ago.
Talk about the law in war. Is there a body of law called the law of armed conflict?
There is such a body, Senator.
Is there a body of law that's called basic criminal law?
Yes, Senator.
Are there differences between those two bodies of law?
Yes, Senator.
From an American citizen's point of view, do your constitutional rights follow you? If you're in Paris, does the Fourth Amendment protect you as an American from your own government?
From your own government, yes.
Okay. So if you're in Afghanistan, do your constitutional rights protect you against your own government?
If you're an American in Afghanistan, you have constitutional rights as against the U.S. government.
Is there a long-standing...
That's long-settled law.
Isn't there also a long-settled law that it goes back to the Eisentrager case? I can't remember the name of it.
Yeah, Johnson versus Eisentrager.
Right. That American citizens who collaborate with the enemy have considered enemy combatants.
They can be.
They
can be. They're sometimes criminally prosecuted, sometimes treated in the military.
Well, let's talk about can be. I think
under Supreme Court precedent.
Right.
Yeah.
There's a Supreme Court decision that said that American citizens who collaborated with Nazi saboteurs were tried by the military. Is that correct?
That is correct.
I think a couple of them were executed.
Yeah.
So if anybody doubts, there's a long-standing history in this country that your constitutional rights follow you wherever you go, but you don't have a constitutional right to turn on your own government and collaborate with the enemy of the nation. You'll be treated differently. What's the name of the case, if you can recall, that reaffirmed the concept that you could hold one of our own as an enemy combatant if they were engaged in terrorist activities in Afghanistan? Are you familiar with that case?
Yeah, Hamdi.
Okay. So the bottom line is, on every American citizen, no, you have constitutional rights, but you do not have a constitutional right to collaborate with the enemy. There's a body of law well developed long before 9/11 that understood the difference between basic criminal law and the law of armed conflict. Do you understand those differences?
I do understand that there are different bodies of law, of course, Senator.
Okay.
Q post 2291. Q quotes post 2094 that we just read. Did you see Senator Graham's speech today? Coincidence? Enjoy the show. Q. Q post 3033. Stay in the lot. Remain open with comms with Senator Graham and Grassley RE Whistleblower Protection Acts. They will take your phone calls. Q. Q post 4456. Why it matters. Graham now has sweeping authority to subpoena documents and more than 50 individuals related to the Russia investigation, including former FBI Director James Comey, former CIA Director John Brennan, and former Director of National Intelligence James Clapper. Q post 3612. Chairman Graham. It's time. Senate was the target. Q. Let me find one other thing. This may make a little sense for you. I posted this last night. Remember Seth Rich back in the news? Remember where Lindsay went just before he died? Ukraine. Where is the server at? Who worked with Obama and the Clintons closely? No Name McCain? Was Lindsay freed after No Name died? Who had all the goods on everyone through No Name? It's a huge web. And I'll read this Q post to you because you really can't see it. So I tell you what, let me try to pull it up on QAG so we can all go through it together and see it. Give me just 1 second. Q post 1708. Quotes and anon. No Name in the redacted portion of FISA application. When did No Name travel to UK? Q. John McCain was involved with the Five Eyes. John McCain assisted in Crossfire Hurricane in conjunction with the Clinton Foundation. Do you remember what we just read? No Name out. Now, we love good singers. Lindsey Graham, James Comey, I don't trust him. He was part of an effort to FBI to give Clinton a pass. The way they conducted the investigation was a joke. The thumb was on the scale. The head investigator by the FBI hated Trump like Clinton. So we go back. What if the UK government worked hand in hand with Hussein admin to sabotage the 2016 election? Data collection, voice, video, bugging, creation of fake intel dossier using ex-spy. That was Steele dossier. Co-sponsor insurance policy, R.E. POTUS election. Remember that? Crossfire Hurricane. The insurance policy. The lovers, Lisa Page and Peter Strzok. Peter Strzok, Lisa Page, No Name, Clapper, Brennan, Rice, Loretta Lynch, Hillary Rodham Clinton, Hussein, plus 22 others. Stay in the light. Remain in open comms with Senator Graham and Grassley are a Whistleblower Protection Act. They will take your calls. Graham now has sweeping authority to subpoena documents and more than 50 individuals related to the Russia investigation, including former FBI Director James Comey, former CIA Director John Brennan, and former Director of National Intelligence James Clapper. Q. What if Intel masked penetrations to frame Russia? Ladies and gentlemen, what is the narrative being drove home right now? No, MTG is not a mole. She is a traitor. POTUS does not use that word lightly about MTG. If you go back and review who he's called a traitor in the past, it's a very short list, and they are traitors. There is no coming back from POTUS calling you a traitor to your country. Believe POTUS when he tells you something. MTG is not on our side. Going back to this. What is the narrative being framed right now? That Russia eliminated Lindsey Graham. It's not all about Russia, Russia, Russia just yet. CrowdStrike. Servers. Seth Rich. Julian Assange. Why does the UK government desperately want Julian Assange? Think source files. The more you know. Q. Who, my friends, is back in the news right now? What are they wanting to declassify right now? Seth Rich, who recently stepped down in the United Kingdom, who is panicking right now. The web is so big and so expansive. Lindsay knew where the bodies were buried. Lindsay was freed post No Name. No Name worked with the Clinton Foundation hand in hand. Where is CrowdStrike at? Ukraine? Servers. Seth Rich, Julian Assange. Think source files. The more you know. Q. Is it making any sense to you right now? Lindsey Graham has always been an operator for us. Is he part of the Q operation? No. Q told us long ago that Lindsey Graham was freed. There are more good people than bad. Have faith. There were some people that were forced into bed with these people under threat of their family and friends. Lindsey Graham was voted for President Trump's bills and everything that he wanted 97% of the time. President Trump is very affectionate about Lindsey Graham. I know he may have done some awful things in his past, but we believe, the OGs believe, that when we did the research back on it and the Chans back in the day, he was flipped. That whole Kavanaugh exchange, do you understand how big Judge Kavanaugh was? You know, they didn't fight Gorsuch. You know, they didn't fight Amy Coney Barrett like they did Judge Kavanaugh. Why? Because Judge Kavanaugh believes in military tribunals of citizens that perpetrate treason. If Graham hadn't have flipped, that whole exchange doesn't make sense. Why would he openly advocate for military tribunals? Listen, you can believe what you want to believe about Lindsey Graham. I'm just telling you what we dug up in the past. I also tell you to listen to the President of the United States, Donald J. Trump, when he talks about someone. He has no qualms in putting somebody on blast even after they just died, if they are not on his side and they were not good people. Yeah, Casey Cole says the fact that Lindsey's net worth is less than $3 million after his years in the swamp show he capitulated. I believe he was eliminated. Seth Rich, Julian Assange, No Name, Clinton Foundation, James Comey, James Clapper, John Brennan, all of it connects. Every single bit of it. And Lindsey Graham knew where the bodies were buried. I hope that makes sense to you. I hope I kind of explained that just a little bit for you. We're over 2 hours now. I do want to get to this, though. I think it's interesting. Mitch McConnell sends out this picture of him in supposedly the hospital. Mitch McConnell is a heart patient. I'm well aware what it entails being a heart patient. You are never, ever in that hospital without being on a heart monitor until you check out. I do not see one piece of medical equipment hooked up to a heart patient that's supposedly still in the hospital. I don't care if they just got him to walk over to the chair. He is going to have the little, at the very, very least, he's going to have the little thing on his finger. And most of the time it's taped on now. It's not the little clamp anymore. It's the one that's taped on. Okay? Did Elaine Chao get back from China? That was quick. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a forgery. This man is being held in reserve, just like Senator John McCain, no name. He was held for D5 because they thought D5 was December 5th. They thought the flood of information was coming on D5. So they released John McCain being dead. And now they're doing the same thing with Mitch McConnell. They know something is coming. They just don't know when. Why in the world would he be in jeans and a button-up t-shirt with absolutely no medical equipment on if he is still in the hospital and is a heart patient? Yeah, Rhea, I believe he's gone too. I believe he's been gone for a good minute. But like I said, he's being held in reserve. There's all kinds of problems with this picture. Well, that's all I have for you today. If one thing that you do, I don't ask you to share the show out today. I mean, if you do, that's great. Go share Tracy's article. That was absolutely her best work ever. Ever. it made this was my third time reading it this morning, and it still almost put me to tears this morning. God is with us. Thank you for donating the 217 gold pills over on Pilled. And Red Gun 51, thank you for donating the 117 gold pills. I very much appreciate that. But like I said, Tracy Taylor, TracietTaylor 76 on X. It's our pinned post. Go share it with your family, your friends, whoever. Thank you, Walter. I appreciate you. I will make sure that Tracy watches this episode of Dawning Justice. She doesn't get to watch a whole lot of them, because she's, number one, she's not up, and number two, she's constantly trying to put out content for you guys. Let's go share it. Might change somebody's life. You never know. And don't forget, we're never promised tomorrow. So make the most of your day today. Maybe it's just giving a compliment to a stranger that looks like they're having a rough time. Maybe it's somebody that's lost out there, and you just go up to them and say, "Hey, you okay?" Because I know somebody that might be able to help you. His name's Jesus. Something as small as that. Could it be that you're on X today and somebody comes at you spouting all kinds of nonsense? There's people in this world that don't understand what's going on. So be patient with them. Try to take your time and explain things. I know there's bots out there. I get it. But I've come across some people that are not bots, that actually are like, "Hey, this person actually replied to me. And they're actually being kind of nice to me." That's what it's all about. It's about helping. This is what this whole movement's about. It's helping each other. Had a question. Do we believe in central casting, no name comms, and all? Apologies, joined late. I suggest you go back and kind of rewatch the episode if you're interested in the whole John McCain no name and the comms and Lindsey Graham. Rewind about 30 minutes. Just went through it all. Central casting, this is what I believe central casting is. Perfect for the part. Does that mean it's fake? No. It means that somebody has been selected for a job to do because they're perfect at it. Look at Pete Hegseth. That's why he's central casting, because he's perfect for it. It doesn't mean because it's some huge ass movie. Moves and counter moves, people. All right. So thank you again for joining us today. I'm going to end us in prayer, and then I'm going to ride you over to the Real AF Patriot. We're keeping it real. His show does not start until noon Eastern, but if you could also give him a quick thumbs up if you're over in Rumble. Pilled, I'll find you somebody to raid to. I don't know who is live right now over there. Hey, thank you, Melissa Smith, for that share. I appreciate that. So make sure to join Steve, Real AF Patriot, back at noon for Keeping It Real. He's going to bring you a lot more of the current happenings now. I kind of go over what happened the weekend and the day before and things like that. So, Thank you again for everybody for joining us. I love my chat. I love everybody watching in the replay. And if you could, make sure you check out justiceshrooms.com and justicepetclub.com if you want to help support the show, and you can get back a little bit for yourself as well. So again, thank you. Lord, I come to you in Jesus' name, Lord. Hallowed be thy name, Lord. Lord, thank you for giving us another day, because I know that we are not promised tomorrow. And Lord, please help us put on the armor of God and witness to people about the ultimate sacrifice that you made for us, Lord, that you sent your only begotten Son to die on the cross for all of our sins. And Lord, I thank you for everything that you've given us, Lord, and all the friends and family that you've given us, Lord. And we ask, Lord, that you just keep reminding us, and again, that tomorrow is never promised. Take advantage of today. Take advantage of your kids buying Park Place and rolling the dice. Take advantage of your husband calling you and saying, I love you. I'm thinking about you. You want to watch a movie tonight? Take advantage of if your grandkids FaceTime you. Take the time out of your day just to connect with them just a little bit. Don't silence that call, because you never know. It may be their last. And we thank you for everybody that you have brought to us, and I have met, and I have loved on, and I am so thankful for everybody, Lord. I even thank you for the trials by fire that you put me through, and that you put Tracy through, and our family through, because it's made us the people who we are today. And Lord, I ask you that if there are those struggling out there that you know who is struggling, that you please help them, Lord. Please just give them a helping hand, and maybe help them through your refiner's fire, Lord. Because we know you love us. You loved us so much that you sent your only Son to die for us. And I thank you, Lord. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. All right, guys, here we go. Let me go ahead and get Steve's pulled up before I start the outro. Let me just... Oh, real quick note. I'm going to give you a channel to follow. Abby Blue Eyes. Tracy is going... Hold on just one second. Let me share the screen with you real quick, guys. Tracy is going on live with Abby Blue Eyes tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern. Man, I'm going to tell you what, this is going to be a show to watch. This is going to be a good one, guys. I'm going to share the show with you, because I'm not going to get a chance to raid you over there, so I'm putting it in the chat right now. If you could check out the show and support Tracy and Abby, I would very, very much appreciate it. I will try to broadcast it on YouTube as well. I only get 2 destinations. When we're a guest, we only get 2 destinations to stream to. So I'm going to probably do it on X and on YouTube as well. So make sure you're checking that out tonight. Abby Blue Eyes and Tracy Taylor. All right, guys. Now let me get Steve pulled up here. So I make sure I can get you rated over to the real AF Patriot. All right, I think I got it. All right, guys. And again, remember, let's go make fishers of men. Let's go save some souls. And let's go save our republic. I'll see you later, guys. See you tomorrow. Bye.
You thought you could bury me. thought the dark would close in. You were wrong, you don't know who I am, and you never will. You drew the line in the dirt and flame. They said I'd break, said I'd shame, whispered threats through a locked back door, but I've heard sound before. You pushed and pulled, tried to crack my back, but I don't collapse like that. I don't run, I don't bend, I don't bow to fear of men. When the dust clears, you'll see you never buried me. We're not backing down, we're holding the line. Truth will be heard, not just whispered in time. You can't stop this, we will not fall. When justice rises, it answers the call. You thought you knew what I stood on, but this ground's been here too long. Stealing the blood, fire and breath. I don't scare easy at talk of death. You don't know the weight I carry, or the hand that stands behind me. You can shout, you can lie, try to crucify, but chains you swing and stones you throw only make the pressure grow. We're not backing down, we're holding the line. Truth will be heard in its own time. You can't stop us, we will not fall. Justice is coming, and it's coming for all. You thought you could take me down. You don't know who I am. I don't stand alone. God holds my sword of truth.